Good evening, everyone. Just past 5 o'clock on Tuesday, February 15th, and this is the City of Calabasas Communications and Technology Commission meeting. We welcome you if you're on either on the Zoom call, and we will provide you with some important information. To start with, I will call it to order, and the roll call indicates to me that all 5 of the commissioners are here, plus our student commissioner, Bella Zimmerman. And after that, we would need the Pledge of Allegiance, and if you, Commissioner Weber. Whoops, what happened to the pictures?
Everybody stand.
Oh, standing. Commissioner Weber, if you would do us the honor of the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Everyone stand, please. Place your hand over your heart. Begin. I pledge allegiance
To the
to the
flag
flag
of
of the United States of America,
to the republic
which stands one nation under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
For all.
Please be seated.
Okay. And, okay, the next up would be the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Okay,
Second,
a second.
second,
Very good. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye. You know, it's funny. I've been on this commission. I don't want to count the number of years. It's quite a while. And I've served as the chair before, but this is the first time I've served from the top in the Zoom condition. So if things are a little rocky, forgive me. Next is the approval of the minutes of January 18th. Sorry, guys. My close friend here. Potential spam, Mr. Spam. Okay. Approval of the minutes. If you haven't had a chance to look them over, do so. I'll give you a moment or so, and then we'll ask for a vote. All right, before we get
We had one minor change, Michael. It was,
that's what I was just about.
and we got to that today, and it was corrected from.
Yes.
It's Richard, Commissioner Sherman's time in the barrel, so to say, as vice chair. So
Yeah.
he gets to do that.
It's one mistaken reference in the notes.
It's not, it's not the pay I'm going to miss this year. It's. I'll just wait my turn.
Okay. All right, so is there a motion on the minutes?
Approve. I motion to approve.
Harry, okay, is there a second?
Second,
Second from Candace, thank you very much. And now any announcements and introductions?
wait about all in favor.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you very much. May we have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, okay. Minutes are so approved. We now have announcements and introductions. And is there anyone that has anything to add or subtract? I don't see anything. No one's, all right, I have nothing new to add at the moment. Okay, we will move on to oral communications. Any indication of anyone from the public that wants to speak on anything that is not on the agenda? It does not appear that they are.
No.
There is
No hands are raised, Chair.
hands are raised. Okay. onward. Now we will come, oh, I forgot to introduce, well, at this time, we have a continued item from the last meeting, and it is the reorganization of the subcommittee and subcommittees. And one of the things I did, I started to review these 5 committees, and it was apparent that the one that I'm on with, where is it now?
I am with you.
Richard, the Video Services Committee. It was primarily a committee that was focused on the cable companies and any issues that were brought to our attention that we needed to deal with. But with the recent year or so, or more, the authority over this is basically moved to the state, so that our activities have been relatively small. And I think in order to make this more efficient, we can just drop that, suggest we drop that subcommittee. We can always activate any problem of any that comes from anyone in the city as a commission without any problem, or but I would suggest for the moment that we just drop that one committee. There doesn't appear to be any reason for any of the other changes. The others are a little more active, and they should be able to stay the same unless somebody wishes to make a change.
I'm fine with things the way they are. Can we legally disband that video services subcommittee? Are there any legal issues around that?
Don't believe there is, because it's a formation of the committee. It's from the committee itself. It wasn't done with any other participation.
As a subcommittee, it's just, 2 people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So legally, I mean, there's no state act, Brown Act, anything that we have to follow. I think it's just up to us to either keep it or disband it, because both commissioners are on,
Yeah, we're each.
other subcommittees.
That's why I said, I started to think as I went through this, I said, the simplest is the best. It doesn't have to get too complicated. We can always reactivate the subcommittee if the issues require. These subcommittees were basically formed to concentrate on things that we couldn't spend all the time on the meeting itself, and they were to provide some guidance to us at a subsequent meeting. So at this point, the only other request that I would make of Michael Russo at this point, to make it a little easier for the members of the community, that we should list where we list the now 4 subcommittees.
there's only 3.
Oh, 3, that's what we've already gone down from the 5. So it's
Yes,
3 of the remaining 4. Thank you, Candace.
you're welcome.
That we add, Michael, I would suggest just putting maybe a one-liner on as a regular part of the agenda when you list the subcommittee, the subject matter that they basically are covering.
Yes, we will have that actually for our next meeting in March.
Very good.
Oh, good.
Michael,
Which one? Me?
yeah, I'm sorry, Chair Brockman, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
I would like for us to consider having our student commissioner be a liaison, maybe on programming or some other subcommittee, so she can be more involved. The reason why I suggest programming, because of her attendance at the high school, and there may be some opportunities to piggyback on things that are happening there. So.
As long as she cannot vote, then I believe that we're okay. Michael Russo, our attending attorney, who we haven't introduced yet because we will shortly, I don't believe there is any problem in her being added as a 3rd member, as I say, since she's a non-voting member.
She can become our lone social committee subcommittee. social media subcommittee. That's what we should have.
Look at, she let her face lit up when you said that. Look at that.
So now she has some official standing at the high schools too.
Yeah.
Right. You know, it's interesting as, you know, we looked at these as technologies changed over the years. We have, you know, a wireless subcommittee, and Commissioner Chair Brockman and I spent a lot of time on that the last couple of years. But we also have a broadband, you know, a subcommittee, and I'm not sure broadband, if we're really using that much broadband or have that much control over it, you know, anymore.
Maybe what we
Just interesting, you know, the technology has changed so much over the last 10, 15 years.
the best way to handle this, Carrie, is let's get the identification on the agenda next month as to what the primary activity is or subject matter that the committee, and then maybe what we'll do is change the title of the subcommittee.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And also,
It's
I
all
think
in the spirit of clarity and
And transparency.
transparency. Yeah.
You know, I think Commissioner Melcher was joking a little bit about social media, but whether it's under
Not
program,
really.
I mean, I think it's vitally important, as we're going to talk about later in the meeting. So,
Mhm.
so I think Bella has become our expert on social media, wherever it lands.
Wherever you guys need me, just throw me in.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure I got an okay from you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Bella.
Thank you, Bella.
Okay, now the next item, is there anyone else that has anything else to contribute on?
Do we have to vote on deleting that one subcommittee or?
It's a good idea to do that.
Yeah.
Can I,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
make
make a
a motion.
motion. I'll make a motion that because of you know, no longer serving a purpose, we would like to delete Video Services Subcommittee.
Second,
all in favor?
I,
Aye.
All done? Okay, good idea. Thank you. At this point, we are up to new business, and the subject is the Calabasas social media comments policy.
what about the director's report? Oh, never mind. I'm sorry.
What are you trying to mess me up?
No,
I
I
did it
was,
on my own. I don't need help.
I messed myself up. Sorry about that.
Okay, Michael Russo?
Yes, hi there, Chair Brockman and members of the commission. You know, at the city of Calabasas, we really do pride ourselves on being open and transparent, putting out a lot of information about what it is we do and how we do it, especially for a small city. And one of the ways we do that, of course, and you alluded to it earlier, is by having a very robust social media, you know, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Nextdoor, and also YouTube. With each of these platforms, members of the public can comment on a particular post. Now, you know, the vast majority of those times, the comments are positive, they're supportive, or maybe they're just simply neutral. A small percentage of the time, the comments are not positive, not supportive, or not neutral. And usually that's okay, but like so much in our polarized society, some comments can be, you know, way off the mark. And that is why you need to have a social media comments policy, which we do have. Now, a comments policy simply lays out the ground rules for behavior while commenting on our social media platforms. And our social media comments policy actually appears right there in front on all of our platforms. So to talk a little more about this is Ephraim Margolin from the city attorney's office. So Epi, go right ahead.
Sure, thanks, thanks, Michael. Let's see, can you guys, let's see my screen now?
Yeah.
Yep, yes, we do now.
Great. So I'm work under Matt Summers, who's the city attorney for the city of Calabasas. And as Michael said, this is just a very short introduction on what is in the city's social media comments policy and how it affects you as commissioners on the Communications and Technology Commission. So what is in the comments policy? So the comments policy is relatively simple, but as Michael said, we have a lot of accounts across social media. And so these accounts are limited public forums, which is kind of fancy lawyer speak under the First Amendment, that we have to allow, because we're putting ourselves out there, we have to allow the public to comment, at least to a certain degree, as long as they don't violate our guidelines. So the comments policy are our guidelines, and what we say is out of bounds and what we kind of won't allow to be posted or be on our posts. So the city can't discriminate based on viewpoint or ideology or political belief, but it can restrict comments that contain profane language, promote discrimination, sexual or obscene content, solicitations of commerce, posts that promote illegal activity, disclosure of confidential or private information. So if people are violating any of these guidelines under, a city post about, opening up a public park, we'll kind of flag that and probably restrict it, or at least who can view it. So the city also has a general broader policy, which applies to kind of elected officials, city officials, and it sets the ground rules for how you as commissioners can kind of act on social media in your official role. So not really on your personal accounts. If your Facebook account just represents you, and you're not really commenting on anything in your work as a commissioner, then the social media policy doesn't really affect you. But if you identified yourself as on social media policy as commissioner on this commission, or in another, if you had an official page and then a personal page as a city council member, then the official page would be subject to these rules and regulations. So as mentioned earlier, talk about the Brown Act. The Brown Act is California's sunshine and open meeting law, and the Brown Act prohibits serial meetings. So those are meetings where commissioners or elected officials are talking amongst one another in a kind of a way to avoid an actual meeting of the whole body itself. So there was a law that was passed in 2020 and went into effect in 2021 called AB 992. And AB 992 has kind of changed the rules for how public officials can act on social media. And so that's kind of how I'll wrap up the end of the discussion here. So as mentioned before, AB 992 is now in effect and will be in effect for the next couple of years. So it allows public officials to interact with the public through social media without running afoul of the Brown Act's prohibition on serial meetings. So you can talk, if a member of the public asks you a question about what is the commission doing, you're allowed to answer it. You're allowed to comment on what the commission is doing. You're allowed to post on what the commission is doing. You are allowed to kind of talk about your job here on the commission. You're allowed to argue with members of the public, although I'm not sure I'd advise that. But AB 992, so officially allows that, which wasn't clear before, but AB 992 also prohibits elected officials and commissioners from, to avoid the serial meeting prohibition. You're not supposed to kind of like or share or comment on other commissioners' posts or interactions with members of the public. So it's kind of just supposed to be a forum between you and the residents of Calabasas, as opposed to you and another commissioner and residents of Calabasas. So you may see another commissioner, another elected official getting ganged up on, and you may want to join the fray of social media, but AB 992 encourages you to not do so, and kind of understand that the way you use social media officially is just a platform for you to interact with the public and for the public to interact with you. And that's all I have for tonight. So I'm happy to answer any questions regarding the city's social media comments policy. I see a couple hands. So yeah. I see, should I go in order of hands I see them? I see Commissioner Weber. Do you want to go first?
Yes, I just want to confirm what I think I heard you say was that if we see a post by a fellow commissioner, that we are not allowed to like it.
If it deals with commission business, I would encourage you not to.
Okay, but if it's not commission business, we can like it.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I just want to confirm.
Correct.
'Cause
Commissioner,
That was new to me.
correct. Vice Chair Sherman, was your hand raised as well?
Yes, please. I just want to confirm to make sure I understand. If a resident writes something good, bad, or indifferent about the cable or the whatever, cell phones coverage, and one of the commissioners writes about it, then another commissioner should not write back as well, or as long as it's back to the individual resident, not another. Can you expand on that a little more, please?
Yeah, happy to. Unfortunately, the law doesn't get into the nitty gritty of the how exactly social media works. Doesn't differentiate between like a Facebook post where multiple people can comment or share, or a Twitter post or YouTube comments. So I would just encourage commissioners to kind of err on the side of caution if you have a question, or reach out to the city attorney or Mr. Russo. But the real prohibition here is, the Brown Act prohibitions. And so if you're just commenting on it, it's not the end of the world, although you probably shouldn't be, but it's attempting to actually communicate or signal a vote or something like that is what this law is intended to avoid.
Ephraim,
Yes.
Michael, I'm not sure how I was supposed to identify myself in this process. Just to make something very clear, in this forum of interacting reactions and comments, etc., the emphasis of the Brown Act here, I think, is a very important one. I think it's probably either should be prohibited, or we should make a self-editing of it, not to talk about anything that has been on the agenda of the meetings. In this kind of forum, you undoubtedly are going to slip into some three-way discussions that could occur accidentally.
Mm-hmm. That's the prerogative of the commission. The city's social media policy addresses AB 992, I believe, but doesn't go so far as to prohibit, as you suggested, the talking on the social media about bodies, issues that will come before the legislative body.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt we will have a particular problem, but likely, but it's a slippery slope is what I'm getting at. In the form, it's the nature of the beast. But
it's interesting. They say in at least the verbiage you used in the slides, elected. But under the Brown Act, I guess it really doesn't matter whether you're appointed, like the commissioners are, or elected at all.
Correct.
Is all the same.
Correct.
yeah. Okay. One thing I had asked Michael about earlier in the week on this particular subject was I was disturbed when I went to the Facebook situation and realized that it may be applicable to the other social media as well, that any reference to these operating rules that are designated for the public as well as for us, that there was no reference to the policy anywhere adjacent to or near the forms themselves. In order to get to it, I had to go through some hoops. It looks like there's a doublespeak going on there. That you don't want them to see it. And I think, Michael, I think you said you did take steps to correct the situation, if you want to clarify it.
Right, and that pertained only to Facebook. Recently, Facebook changed our front page, if you will, and which they do every now and then. It's annoying, but it does happen. And our social media comments policy disappeared from that front page. You had to go into About and then Privacy and Legal Info in order to find it. I have since changed that and put it back on the front page where it belongs. That did not change anything on Twitter, YouTube, Nextdoor. Those remain on the front page. So if anybody wants to go to our site, you could very easily click on the link that goes to the social media comments policy, which is also on the city's website. And you can see it right there. It's not a very long policy. It's relatively short. It's about a half a page. And it covers the things that Mr. Margolin mentioned earlier. But yeah, it is now corrected on Facebook.
Okay.
Michael Russo, can I ask the question?
Yes.
I think in the discussion with you earlier in the week or last week, it rarely happens that someone writes something that falls under this list.
Correct.
Can you explain more to the public and maybe the other commissioners, what happens if you or your team sees something that does go against this policy? What's the process that you how is it handled?
It's not very detailed. If I see something that's in clear violation of the policy, I will pull it down. I will delete that person's post. Rarely happens. It's only been a couple of times, 2-3 times since I've been here, which has been 2.5 years. There have been instances where somebody would, solicit business. It's something that this person probably put on 1,000 different, social media pages all over, and he kept putting it on ours, and I, pulled it down. There was one instance where there was some profanity, and this was fairly recent. It was during the governor's recall election, and that was something that was pulled down by me. That was pretty blatant, pretty obvious, and I said to the person literally, "Hey, you can't use profanity on here. I had to pull down your post." And he said, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realize." And that was it. So it's quite rare.
So do you actually reach out to these people, to people who've done this, or not? Or it depends on individual cases?
Usually what I do, if I pull a post, I will explain why. And usually it's as simple as, this comment was in violation of the city's social media comments policy, and then I will actually put the link right there in a response to it so the person can see it.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to the next item, which is the wireless facility under the monthly reports, wireless facility minor modification permits. I don't think there is anything to report tonight. I don't see Michael Klein. Michael Russo, I assume this is one that we could just bypass at the moment.
Yes, I have not seen any minor mod reports coming from our community development department.
And if
Okay,
you don't need me, I will also be logging off for the night. So it was nice to meet all of you
thank you
and enjoy the rest of your meeting.
very much.
Thank you, Effie.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Nice meeting you. We'll go on now to the franchise fee report. Yadira, do you have anything to comment on?
She doesn't know she's on mute.
Right again, Yadira.
Hello? Okay,
Yes.
sorry about
There
that.
we go.
Hi, yes, there's nothing new to report at this time.
All right, I have a question regarding, well, wait a minute, no, it's on the next part. I'll hold for a moment. Okay.
Mhm.
You have nothing on the front of the report itself to move on with. Then there comes the cable complaint review. And I see we did have one here.
Yes,
Interesting reading the comments of the person. And the last thing I got was the feedback from Charter that they too were having difficulty reaching back to the individual who sent in the complaint. Is it that status still at this moment, as far as you know?
yes, and I actually also emailed the resident, letting them know that, Charter's trying to reach them, and if she has any follow-up questions, she can contact the following number, and I haven't heard back from the resident either.
I would like to offer what I think might be a source of the problem that she's having.
Okay.
To the community, this was a complainant from someone who lives on the west side. I don't remember the exact area, but it's in an area where there are a number of homes that are not necessarily clustered in any way, and they're spread out. One of the conditions that the cable companies used to have, and probably still do, is if there is a home adjacent or near another home that is already serviced, but the distance to try and reach the next home, which has not been serviced, is at such a specified length. If it's beyond that, they don't have to service them without the customer having to make some payment. I believe that's still in force. I'm not sure. That may be the reason why she's complaining that she can't get service from the cable company while others on the street do have it. It might be that, it might not. I have no idea about the particular site or the distance between that house and the other houses. But I would try and recontact the individual.
Okay. Yes, definitely.
They're deserving. I don't know why. I might have even called her to find out, and I didn't get any response either. So I don't know what the problem is, but at least we'll make another effort, a little extra effort. Okay.
You know, actually her father submitted the complaint on her behalf. So I think I'll reach out to him as well.
Fine. Okay. Very good. You follow what I'm talking about today? I don't know if I made myself clear enough about what the problem might be. I don't know that it is that. But. Okay. This cable company report, I don't think there's anything here that we have from them. So we'll move on to the subcommittee reports. And Carrie, we have anything on the wireless side? I don't.
Nothing for this month.
Okay. Okay, we've dropped the video service committee as we did earlier in the evening. The programming subcommittee, Ms. Weber and Richard Sherman.
We don't have anything going right at the moment.
Okay.
Right, Richard?
Right, we hope to, though. We hope to the next meeting.
Okay, very good. And then the broadband subcommittee, this is Melcher and Goldwater. Anything pertinent to discuss this evening?
No new business in the last month.
Okay, onward we go. The director's report.
Yes, and in your packets, you received the report on views with Granicus, as well as our YouTube. As we always state that a lot of our video views do come on social media. We're contemplating making some changes to our smartphone app coming up in the near future, looking at other ways of making it easier for people to submit information to us to report.
Whoop, you froze, Michael.
Yeah, that usually means somebody's going to get dropped or something.
I'll tell you what.
Complaining about some issues in the office here.
For a moment or two, and then if not, we'll kick over to something else. Okay.
Did we lose Arvin also?
Oh, I'm still here.
Okay.
That's what I was going to say. Arvin, why don't you pick up on your.
I sure will.
Okay. And this relates to the.
Right. So Michael Russo was talking about the smartphone app that we were looking into, what's missing from it and how can we make it better. So we'll be working on a brainstorming session, and actually Isabella might be part of that as well, so that we could get some feedback from the younger generation as well and what works better for everybody. In addition, moving on, I believe you have in your packet, you have your Granicus and your YouTube reports and hits and views, and Michael Russo's back. Michael, we just moved on to the YouTube and Granicus views, and
Thank you, Arvin.
we covered that, I believe.
And Michael, that already happened to me one time too in this meeting.
It's happened about 3 times in this meeting.
Now you know what I was talking about.
Keep you on your toes,
Yeah, it does keep you on your toes. That's true.
We could use our broadband subcommittee for that, maybe.
Yes. We need more, a broader band is what we need.
So anyway, I assume Arvin was able to fill you in on everything there.
Yes, we were. So we are up to the staff report, the programming report. Arvin.
Okay, thank you, Chair Brockman. Good evening, commissioners. I'd like to quickly go over our January and February productions for our department. School board is back to its second and fourth meetings, and they're in person. So we go out there and we shoot it at the headquarters and replay it starting the Thursday morning on. We created it for a set of PSAs with our Calabasas pharmacist, Brenda Johnson, all COVID related, of course, when to get a booster shot, which vaccine boosters should I take? Should I take a booster after having COVID? And last one, what about COVID boosters for immunocompromised people? So anyway, she did nice little PSAs, all under 2 minutes, a series of 4 of them. We thank her a lot for that. From the CDC, we created a couple of PSAs, children's dental health, which seems like in the whole pandemic, we kind of brushed that to the side. Brush that. But we want to
pun, huh, Arvis?
but that's something important that, of course, needs to keep going. And also another thing from the CDC we updated and received is how to interpret the self-test results. So that's a little infomercial we made. And lastly, we went out to the Agoura Hills Calabasas Community Center where there was a 4-city joint operation to get tests. And these are all free tests. It's all online on our website to find out how to just sign up for it and make no appointment needed. Just head on out over there and you'll get your test done. Some of our productions, as I mentioned mid-January, was with our pharmacist, Brenda Johnson. The COVID testing, we went over there on February 3rd, and it's every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So head on over if you need a test of coronavirus. Some of our upcoming events, we're still working on getting waste management to explain the new law, California law, SB 1383, which is recycled food. The city's about to do a revamp of Old Town Calabasas. They send out bids for it. They picked a contractor to start that process. So the next couple of weeks we'll be taking before shots. So video and photos of it all before it starts. And of course, during the construction phase, and then afterwards, I'm sure there'll be a nice ribbon cutting ceremony. We'll be out at that as well. Also, City Park Services, that's a new series we're doing. So far, we've got Gates Canyon Park. We want to highlight every single park that's in the city, what there is to rent, what things they have there for the children, for the families. So we'll be creating a series of PSAs. Look for those. Library information, of course, we're always updating that. Tomorrow, we're going over to make a little program about the Children's Book Award winners of the year. So look for that within a week. Also PSAs of course, every city information. Next one on our list is film permits. We want to make a little infomercial about why do you need a film permit and how do you even get one? So we're working with the planning department to set that up. Hopefully within a week or two, we'll be shooting that as well. In addition, I just want to mention March 12th, Saturday is Arbor Day over at Chaparral School. That's from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We'll be out at that as well. And it's, of course, open to the public. So please come on out and help plant some trees. Promoted events, of course, again, COVID-19 vaccine information, all of our online council and commission meetings, mayor's weekly letter to the community is something we, of course, promote. And this month, of course, being Black History Month, we've done a lot of stuff for that and more. And again, the drive-through vaccine clinic, look for it on our website. In addition, I have a list of 11 meetings that we have this month in February. It's a short month, so it's only 11. So more to come next month as well. All this information and more on the website, cityofcalabasas.com. And I'm here for any questions and answers I can do. Thank you.
Chairman Brockman, I did want to dovetail on something Arvin said. The COVID testing site over at the community center, it looks like the final 3 days of the testing site are this week. So you'll have today, Thursday, as Arvin mentioned, and then the final day will be Saturday. So if you need a test, this is the week to get it.
Very good. Do you have anything planned with regard to the sheriff's and the emphasis on communicating to the residents about locking the cars, et cetera? Or any
I
other?
mean, we did a couple of those actually during the holidays, a couple of short PSAs, but that they were a little more holiday specific. We could easily go out and
Because it happens, I keep reading the reports.
oh, yeah.
I have a working title for you for the PSA. Yeah,
Okay.
lock it or lose it.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. It is something that, of course, they do see all the time. And whether it's at shopping centers around the holidays or things like trailheads, people want to go out for a walk on a trail, or maybe they go for a run on a trail, and they put their keys in the car because they don't want them, jangling in their shorts. And so thieves will see that, they'll break the window, get the keys, and then drive away, or steal other items inside the car. So yeah, it's definitely a problem.
Okay. Okay. The last item on the agenda, short of the adjournment, is future agenda items. Is there any particular subject that any of the commissioners would like to see added to a future agenda item?
You're muted.
Well, Carrie, I think you've frozen too.
No, he's there.
Oh, no, I thought it was
We
you.
just can't hear you, Richard.
Richard, we're not hearing you. Something is going on, guys. A gremlin is in the room. All
Can
right.
you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Okay. I muted him. And it's not exactly a future agenda item, but I wonder if Michael Russo could spend like a minute and explain about tomorrow's special city council meeting, because some of the items, I believe, certainly if communication in the city. I think it would be valuable to hear about that briefly.
Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be a really cool special city council meeting, because the only topic on the agenda, that's why it's a special city council meeting, is on strategic planning, on the city strategic plan. We call it strategic initiatives or work plan or whatever. It's really getting that roadmap for the city as it looks into the future. The city has a general plan, of course, and that's wonderful. It kind of does a similar thing. It's mostly for land use, but if you look at internally, things that these priorities that we want to do internally, and also how to do them, how to measure their progress. That's something that we would be doing internally, but there will be a list of various projects. First off, there's going to be strategic initiatives, big umbrella topics, and then you would have specific work projects in there. And that's what they're going to be talking about tomorrow. But the public gets the opportunity to weigh in here. So any members of the public who are listening, please look at the agenda, go to the website, and show up at the meeting virtually tomorrow night and offer your 2 cents. It looks like 6 strategic initiatives at this point. Again, very broad things like public safety or environmental stewardship, things like that. And then again, those projects would be under there. And this is your chance to sort of help the city council sort of weigh in on those particular projects that you think are important that the city should be looking at. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, if there are no other suggested or any suggested future agenda items that we need to address to Michael at this moment, I would look for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
The second, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, 5-0 is the vote. Okay. Okay, everybody. Take care.
Thank-
Be well.
Thank you. See you next
You
month.
won't get a chance to say this much, but stay dry.
All right.
Thank
Take care,
you.
everybody.
Yeah.
Looks like it's breaking up out here.
Okay. All right, guys, take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.